Welcome to The Explainer. We're going to talk about an ancient practice called the Microcosmic Orbit, which is said to move life energy through your body. But what if I told you the real magic isn't mystical at all, but is actually a brilliant way to rewire your own nervous system? Let's get into it. So let's dive right into this. You've probably heard of Qi, or life energy. For centuries, the microcosmic orbit has been described as this amazing way to circulate it. But today, we're going to put on our science goggles and translate that ancient idea into the language of modern physiology. What's really going on in there? Okay, so before we can unpack the science, we first have to understand what people are actually doing in this practice, and more importantly, what it feels like from the inside. On the surface, the instructions sound almost ridiculously simple. When you breathe in, the idea is to feel a sense of lifting and opening all along your back and your spine. And then, as you breathe out, you just let the front of your body, your chest, your belly, soften and settle down. That's it. A really subtle but focused pair of actions. But here's the thing. From these super simple movements, people start to feel some very real, very distinct physical sensations. Maybe it's a feeling of warmth spreading, or a subtle tingling, or this clear sense of something flowing. The traditional explanation? Well, that's your qi, your vital energy, finally getting unstuck and starting to move. Now, to really appreciate what makes this practice so special, we've got to pop the hood on our own bodies and look at the factory settings. You know, how our nervous system is wired to breathe automatically every second of the day, without us ever thinking about it. Normally, your breath and your nervous system are totally locked together. Think of it this way. Your inhale is the gas pedal. It fires up your sympathetic nervous system, which gets you alert, aroused, and ready for action. And your exhale? That's the brake pedal. It kicks in the parasympathetic system, which tells your body to chill out, relax, and recover. Gas, then brake. On, then off. That's the normal rhythm. Okay, so you've got the normal pattern down. Now, here's where the microcosmic orbit comes in and just completely flips the script. It takes that automatic on-off pattern and deliberately turns it upside down. So remember how inhaling is normally the gas pedal? Well, in this practice, as you're inhaling and lifting, you're also told to soften and release your back. You're basically injecting a relax signal right when your body expects to gear up, and then on the exhale, when your body just wants to go limp, you're adding a little bit of gentle structure to the front. It's like you're tapping the brakes while accelerating and gently steering while you're slowing to a stop. And this intentional mixing and matching of signals has a pretty cool technical name. It's called autonomic cross-coupling. You're literally weaving the go signal and the stop signal together into each and every breath so that neither one ever gets to be the total boss. And what's the big payoff for doing this? Well, instead of your nervous system swinging wildly back and forth between on and off, it learns to find this incredible sweet spot right in the middle. Arousal and relaxation learn to exist at the same time. This creates a remarkably stable, balanced state, and it makes moving from, say, focused to relaxed way, way smoother. You might even feel less reactive to stress. Which brings us all the way back to those mysterious key sensations. If it's not some mystical energy, then what on earth are people actually feeling? This new physiological model gives us a really compelling answer. So first, let's be really clear about this. From this scientific point of view, the practice isn't actually making some new, special kind of energy inside of you. Nothing is being created out of thin air. Instead, what you're really doing is systematically turning down the volume on everything else. It's about reducing what we can call somatic noise. Think of it like the low-level static of muscle tension, fidgeting, and all the other distracting bodily sensations we live with 24/7. And this chart illustrates it perfectly. See, in our normal day-to-day, that somatic noise is turned way up. It's so loud that it completely drowns out the much quieter, subtler signals underneath, things like the feeling of warmth from blood flow. But when the practice helps you turn down that static, what happens? All of a sudden, you can perceive those quieter signals that were there the whole time. You just couldn't hear them over the noise. Now, this noise-canceling effect is at its absolute most powerful in one specific, critical moment that almost all of us completely overlook. That tiny little pause between our breaths. You see, this breath gap is a really unique moment. For just a split second, the biological drive to either inhale or exhale just vanishes. Your nervous system isn't hitting the gas and it isn't hitting the brake. It's in neutral. And in this state of minimal input, your whole system becomes incredibly receptive and adaptable. It's a moment of maximum plasticity, a window where it's easiest to learn new patterns. So you see, the full practice isn't really 2 steps, it's 3. You have phase 1, the inhale, opening the back. You have phase 2, the exhale, settling the front. And then you have the all-important phase 3, the breath gap, where those 2 opposing actions get integrated and the entire system unifies for just a moment. All right, let's bring all this home. We're going to look at what this all builds towards, the true functional purpose of this practice. And I'm going to bet it's probably not what you think it is. This whole idea really reframes the goal. A lot of people get into this thinking the point is to chase those cool, tingling or flowing sensations, to accumulate more and more of this energy. But the functional role seems to be something much more practical. It's about stabilizing your entire nervous system. The sensations, they're just a side effect of that process, not the destination itself. And this leads to a really fascinating paradox. As your nervous system gets better and better at this balancing act, as it becomes more stable and efficient at holding both the gas and the brake at the same time, those novel sensations you first felt actually start to fade away. They just melt into the background, leaving you with a new baseline that's just quiet, clear, and stable. And what's absolutely amazing is that this modern scientific insight lines up perfectly with an ancient piece of wisdom from the Qigong classics. It says, when accomplishment is complete, no trace remains. The ultimate goal isn't a spectacular fireworks show of feeling. It's a state so perfectly balanced and integrated that it leaves no trace at all. It just becomes your new, more stable normal. And so that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. In so many of these mindfulness and body-based practices, we find ourselves chasing extraordinary states, right? Looking for that peak experience. But what if the real prize isn't a fleeting, amazing feeling? What if the true goal is to build a fundamentally quieter, more resilient, and more stable ordinary life?